All right, guys, this is Paris Clough with Prepper Talk Radio. Super excited to bring to you an opportunity to have my son share an experience that they had at their local high school. Right now, there's a lot of anxiety and panic and fear mongering, and that's been going on with the news and the media, and rightly so, because there's been some very wicked and evil people that have made some choices to go into schools and to kill people and use guns and use weapons to do that. Now, my son, his high school had a threat that was called in, and it was, for all intents and purposes, it was a threat that was real, and they were called in, and thankfully it ended up being a hoax and or some kind of false alarm, some kind of a prank. However, in the meantime, it was a pretty traumatic experience. And so I thought it would be good to hear from him or have him share with us his experience that might help somebody out there be better prepared and to learn from somebody who's had an experience. Now, he didn't have an experience where somebody was actually in his school with the guns and other things, causing damage and causing wreaking havoc and causing fear and panic. But he was there when the hoax was there and the school was shut down and the police came in mass to fill in the school. So you want to kind of just walk us through, Landon? His name is Landon, by the way. You want to kind of walk us through what happened? It was Tuesday morning, right?
Yeah, it was.
And so walk us through what happened. Like you were sitting in class and go.
Yeah, so it was actually kind of funny because I had a sub that day and I was in my biology class and I was doing an ASL crossword puzzle because it was due the next period. So I was like we're not doing anything right now, so I might as well. And it was so weird because it was so random and so scary because we just got an announcement and I thought it was like something random like hey guys, like welcome to the school today. But no, it wasn't. It was like, hey, this is not a drill. Please prepare for lockdown. This is not a drill. Like, do what you can. And we moved really, really fast, and it was like immediate, and it was pretty cool
So
how fast we moved.
how'd you feel though? Is that announcement came over the school?
I felt really scared. Like my first reaction was like, what the crap is going on? Why are we going in lockdown? Like, what is? And I felt a lot of fear and a lot of panic, and I was very confused about what was going on. Because they hadn't told us much besides to go into lockdown.
Okay. And so you're sitting in class doing your work and the loudspeaker comes over and says, "This is not a drill." What's the first thing you guys do? Does everybody freak out and panic and chaos, or does the teacher kind of direct and guide and get you guys to do certain things? What happened next?
Well, my teacher, so we had a sub that day.
Mm-hmm.
But what first happened was, well, we acted immediately, and it was kind of cool how little we did panic, because people just like moved immediately. Like the second the teacher was like, "Okay, like let's prepare," and we immediately barricaded the door. And
So with desks and tables,
yes. Mm-hmm.
did you stack them up on top of each other?
Yeah, we did.
Oh wow. And then
We had 4 tables against 1 door.
okay, so what happened next?
What happened next was we hid under the tables that were left to try and shield ourselves. At least I did. I hid under the table that I was working at because it was close to the back, so it was one of the tables that wasn't taken. And it was kind of weird because we immediately just like pressed ourselves up against the wall instead of checking any of the other doors. I think we had 2 other doors. One led to a biology lab, and the other one went to a different classroom. So our sub, like, bless her heart, she was very fast and acted immediately.
Did anything else come over the loudspeaker, or was that just that one time?
It was just the one time.
So
I think they had one more announcement, but I can't remember what it was.
So when did you text? Because you sent your mom and I a text.
Yes, I did.
And unfortunately, I had decided to go back to sleep and take a nap because I had a really early morning and a really late night, and I wasn't feeling very good. And so I took a little nap in the morning, and my wife was in a job, doing work, and so you texted us. When was that? How long after the announcement? You barricaded the doors, and then you were under the table for protection, and then Did you text us?
Yes. So I made sure that was like safe enough before I texted you, and also when I stopped shaking enough to actually text.
Good idea.
Yeah. So we checked another door, and we checked the doors. So one of the doors in the classroom leads to a lab, and in that lab has two other doors that go to the rest of the school. So one of the teachers, the teacher from next door, he came over and he ran into the other lab and checked the door, and luckily they were both locked, and then locked the door to the lab.
Okay.
We also put up one more desk up against the door that led to the lab, and I think it was either one or two tables actually.
And did all the guys and the girls kind of band together, and everybody was kind of like, we're doing this together?
Absolutely, it was very unspoken though. Like it was like we immediately knew what to do, and people were immediately doing stuff to try and do what we could.
That's reassuring. That's
Yes.
good. And so when did you text us? After?
Yes, after we had barricaded both doors, we went through the third door that led to a different teacher's classroom, and like our whole entire class was in there with his
Okay.
class that he was already
So
teaching.
2 classes in 1 classroom now.
Yes,
Okay.
and we closed. So it was like one classroom and then a small little area and then another classroom that was like. So the small area was connecting both classrooms, and we locked both doors in there, and we had our sub was standing next to one of the doors that led to our other classroom.
Okay, good. And then you texted your mom and I.
Yes. I laid down behind the main desk, or like the island at the front of the room, and I sat behind there and I waited for a couple of minutes, like mainly because of shock. I wasn't like thinking clearly. I was just wanting to like
It was starting to set in what was happening.
yeah, and I started to panic really
Okay.
bad. So I just like sat there for a couple of minutes, and I remembered that I should probably text you guys just in case something happens.
Uh-huh. Which we appreciate. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Even though I had fallen asleep, and your white mom was in a job, and it took us 45 minutes to respond to your text. Man.
Actually, it was 15 minutes.
Anyways, all right, fair enough.
I don't know.
But then so in that time frame, did you hear the police coming on?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us how that.
So what first happened is that we heard some sirens, and then the announcement went off, and then a lot of more sirens started to come in.
There was another announcement?
No, it was just, so it was the original announcement.
Oh,
but
okay.
right before that, I heard a single siren, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, I thought it was just.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the cop cars that was just at our school. Like it was just like driving by, or it's like it like accidentally turned on.
So you're barricaded in the room.
Yes.
You texted your mom and I to let us know what's going on.
And we heard police inside the school yelling.
Okay, what were they yelling?
They were yelling the classic, "Put your hands up!" Like, "Don't move, get on the ground."
Do you think that was just because of other kids they didn't know who was the threat, so they were just telling everybody to get on the ground?
Yeah, no, they did that to the kids who were out in the halls.
Okay.
Like sloughing and stuff. And one of the kids was inside of the like someone I know was inside of the little theater, and he like didn't hear it, so he was just on his iPad like drawing and stuff. And he was telling me today how he was just like drawing, and then next thing he knew, he had like 6 guns pointed at him, and they're just like, "Take off your headphones, like get on the ground." And we're just like, and he was telling me how it was so weird because he didn't hear anything, and he also didn't know what was going on.
Oh wow, well that's what you get for ditching class.
Yeah, and having noise canceling headphones going on.
So don't ditch. Moral of the story there: don't ditch class. So I mean, you said that when at one point one police officer like pushed the door and was able to open it or something.
Yeah, it was right before one of the police officers banged on the door, the classroom that we were now in. Yeah, so I was laying up against the wall nearest to the other room, so I was the one who like heard most of the stuff going on, and we heard the classroom over. Like it was kind of freaky because we heard the door open, but then we heard all of the desks fall over.
Oh, like the dude pushed the door and he just
and
knocked everything over that was barricaded.
It was really weird because then the sub and the teacher that were in there like shared a look, and then the teacher was like, "I think we're okay." And then
Lean forward.
Then the teacher that we were in there with, he No, that's not right.
No, it's because you said the police officer said something like, "Hey, who's in there?"
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. So the police, so the police officer after that happened, a police officer came up to our door and he like he hit on the door and said police. And honestly, I thought that we were like finally safe until I realized that a shooter can also say the word police. You know?
Yeah, could have been faking you out.
Yes. And the teacher that we were in there with said, yes, officer, we're safe, we're good. You can go ahead and check someplace else. And that was one of the times I actually felt like I was going to die. Like I like once he said that, I was like, yeah, like I'm dead for sure. And I started to text like a lot of other people to make sure that they were okay and to
Because you felt like
say a
that
possible goodbye.
because you felt like that could have been the shooter pretending to be a police
Yeah.
officer, and
And
that's
our
legit. That's legit.
yeah,
And so you're like, "Teacher, why are you saying that?
and he
Don't."
said it loud too. Like he said it like loud. And he was just like, yeah, we're good, we're fine. I was like, yeah, we're
Dude,
dead.
you
Like
just told us, you just told the person there
yes.
that we're in here and there's more than one person. But thankfully, it really was the police, and
Yes, thank the heavens.
that wasn't a big deal. Okay, so um, what happens next?
After that, the police like I don't really know how they opened the door, but I remember the door got opened and a cop came in, and I was kind of like a little confused because he had his vest on, but then he also had like gym clothes underneath, and like it kind of looked like he was just like laying at home, and then he like got the call to come over
Yeah, maybe it was
because
his
he
day off or something.
because he was wearing like basketball shorts, so I was like weird. But then I'm also like happy though. And it was a little weird because I stood up to get a good look at them, and it was one cop that came into the classroom and one that was in the doorway. And they had like one of the hugest guns I've ever seen in my whole life, just
So
like carrying around.
yeah, it's one of their ARs, I'm sure.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And so, what? When did they finally give you the clear to everything's okay and you're
it
safe?
was. I'm pretty sure it was almost a whole hour after that. Like since we were in lockdown for a while, I'm fairly sure it was an hour after the cops came in and they're just like, "Please don't leave until we give you the okay." And after that, one cop came in. I think it was other one or two that came in, and they told us to like put our hands behind our head and walk out of the school to the football field.
Okay, like up here like this or something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then when they gave you the all clear, did you go back to like put anything together, get your stuff, or when did they finally tell you could go home? Or when did
Um.
you call mom? Like you actually called mom and told her.
Oh yeah, it was one more out. I think it was other an hour, like 30 minutes or something. We were out there for a while, I know, and
So this was after you walk out to the field.
yes, and then I was waiting there for like a few minutes, and like, hey, like please call your parents, and that's when I called mom because I saw that you
Oh,
guys
okay.
hadn't responded yet.
Got it. Mom responded, thankfully.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mom responded and
She's like,
said that you could call her, and you did. And I
mhm.
think she told the people that she was working with, "Hey, my son needs me to. I need to talk to him because there was an active shooter prank. Thankfully, it was ended up being a prank, but there was an active shooter threat
Mhm.
that was taken and should have been, and rightly so, taken very seriously, as if it was real. And I feel bad for whoever. I don't feel bad actually. The guy whoever did the prank needs to be taken care of, and they probably will. But I have a buddy a buddy of mine works like 2 blocks away from the high school, and he said for about 30 minutes, cop cars, police cars, SWAT teams, like all kinds of sheriffs were just flying by his office for like 30 minutes, and he was like, "What is going on over there at the high school?" And so it was real. We got the whole pretty much, and that wasn't just
Yeah, we got cops from Lehigh to Ephraim.
wow. And so I our house is across the street from the elementary school,
Hmm.
and the elementary school was on lockdown, and there were several other high schools in the area that were. I don't know if this was a call just to the high school where my son goes, or if there was a call made, prank-ish call made to several high schools. But I do know that throughout the county, almost every high school in the county had somebody. I heard that they had similar things happen at those high schools as well. So, did you hear about any other high schools or?
Yes, I did. So we had cops come up from Lehigh, and I heard that they got to my school in 5 minutes.
That's not really possible.
Yeah, but no, but like they're cops.
Maybe they
they can do what
work
they
in
want.
maybe they work in Lehigh, and they were here in the area
I don't know.
because from us to Lehigh is
Cars go fast,
well, it's 30-minute drive
but
on the
also
freeway.
they're police officers, so it's not.
Anyways, let's not argue about that on the podcast.
Are they gonna get pulled over?
Anyways,
the cop,
they got there
the
fast.
cop
Let's just
buddy's
put
like,
that.
"Hey, John, can you stop going like 200 miles an hour?"
We may edit that part out. Anyways,
Yeah.
so you're out on the field. You call mom. You tell her you're safe. Everything's okay. And then do you go back to the class to get your backpack?
We
and
aren't
then,
allowed to leave yet. We're not allowed to go back in the school because when I did call mom, I'm pretty sure we still had to wait out there for a bit, and we started to congregate over one way, in like groups to go back into the school and get the essentials. And he told us to either get your car keys, your wallet, or your phone, and like pretty much anything else could be easily replaced. So what happened was, yes, we were split into groups, and I walked back into the school and I asked an officer if I could get my backpack just yet, and they're like, no, 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 like not yet. So I was like, oh, okay. But then I saw a girl with her backpack, so I was like, why does she have hers but I can't have mine? So then I asked her, and apparently we could have our backpack. So I went into my biology class and I took mine back. But the two tables that got knocked over on top of the other two tables were in the way of like any doors that I could come through, so I had to squeeze through and get my backpack and then squeeze back out.
so did they offer in the like the day after? Did they say, hey, if anybody needs counseling and anybody needs help, do they offer anything like that?
Yes, they did.
That's
They
awesome.
sent out an announcement and like a little like QR code and told anyone to reach out if they needed it.
And so you even shared with us, as you know, as we talked with him and we helped him through it processing it. You even shared with me how you didn't want to go back to school. Like you're scared to go to school because you don't know if that's going to happen again, or the next time could be a real deal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I did not feel like going back to school, and like it's not just because it's school, you know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, it was very much because I didn't like I just
Feel
had
vulnerable now.
yeah, it wasn't because I didn't feel unsafe. It was just like a feeling of unease the entire day. Like the whole time I was waiting in classes and I was just expecting for something like that to
Happen again.
hmm
Wow.
And I was telling mom about how it felt like really weird to see everyone so normal after that thing almost happened, and I was like, I was kind of confused how people can just like move on from that the day after, and then like nothing happened.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness nothing happened. And our hearts go out to those that have had real active shooter situation scenarios, that real people have passed away, real children, real teachers, real individuals have died because of the horrible consequences of terrible decisions made by people that are making these decisions. So our heart goes out to those people, but we want you to realize that there are ways for you to prepare. There are ways for you to be ready for those types of things. And I think one of the ways that you can prepare is through your mental toughness and recognizing that even if something as traumatic or potentially traumatic as that happens, you can work together in your classrooms to barricade the doors. You can work together to help each other. You can be texting each other, "Hey, are you safe?" Like my son shared. You can work cooperatively with the police and the teachers and the principals and the administration to make sure that everybody's safe as quickly as possible. So, hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully this helps others be ready. Because the reality is this is happening more and more, and if not for real, it's happening. Uh, it happened to my son's school as a hoax, which is not even funny, as a prank, which is not funny. So it's traumatic. It's traumatic either way. Any last minute things you want to share, Landon, that you might think might help somebody out there who might be listening?
I would say that in the end, it's going to be okay. Whether it is real or not, or whether you did lose people, it is going to be hard and it's going to suck really, really bad. But I'm definitely going to say the pain will ease and it will get a lot easier. And you will be able to go back to school and feel safe, hopefully, I pray. And that the feeling of safety that you have that's left is going to come back one day, and that you are going to feel safe. somewhere that you were comfortable in, like school, and to tell your family and friends that you love them, because even if something like that doesn't happen, they still will appreciate it.
Yeah. Communicate your love to others more
Hmm.
frequently, because you never know when it might be your last day. And I think as you go back to school, have an awareness, have a reality check that this kind of evil is in the world and it can happen at any time. So I'm not saying be paranoid, but be ready, stay ready, continue to not just be ready physically, but be ready spiritually, and be ready emotionally as well. And so, thanks so much for listening. That's You've been listening to Prepper Talk Radio. We have a special um, a special interview today, or special chat today, with my son, who had an opportunity to have an active shooter hoax, thankfully.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks so much, and take care till the next one.